Hey, welcome to the UpStreamLife. I'm Vishal Krishna. I'm the founder and editor. I've got a special guest. This company is synonymous with accounting, but they're much more. I've got Tejas Goenka with me. Let's delve into the podcast and find out how they've really impressed India over the last 40 years. Yes, it's 40 years. But please like and subscribe before that. Tejas, how are you?
Excellent, Vishal. Thanks for having me.
It's been 6 years.
It has. We did our first interaction when I was in New York.
Instagram Live.
Yeah,
and it was the middle of COVID, and I'm glad all of us are fine.
Yeah, thank God.
And the company's grown.
Yep.
So my first question is this, 40th year, people call you a legacy company and whatnot.
Yeah.
And you always argued, and rightly so, saying, what are the cloud providers selling? Everybody said cloud is, now that story is played out. It's really not cheap, is it, as you grow? But Tally is an operating system, and it's an operating system for India. So let's answer that story first, and people would want to know, why are you an operating system?
Sure. So I think, Vishal, 40 years in a tech business and remaining legacy is simply not possible. So there's something that must be going right for us. I think the way we look at the Indian business, the way we look at SMEs, we've grown to Africa, the Middle East is a big share in our business today. The one thing that we realize is that automating those kinds of businesses is a really, really challenging job. Most people will come from a mindset that if those folks need to automate, they need to change the way they work. Business software works step 1, then step 2, then step 3, and all of these controls, but the business doesn't work like that. And I think what we end up doing is creating, or we're willing to create, products, technology that allows businesses to run the way they run, but just make it more delightful, more efficient,
Let's I'm sure a lot of people abroad will watch this, and let's talk about how India functions. How does a typical Indian business function, and why it's built for them?
It's a great question. We'll take a simple case here. There's a cement dealer, near your office, BTM layout.
We have a lot of dealers in India, for sure. And trading is our way of life. It's been like this for years.
Absolutely.
Generations. So, yeah.
So you take this guy, he's been running his business for 20 years. I met him last year. He does cements, paints, and other building material construction stuff. Typically, he will sell to contractors, and occasionally he'll get a large project that he's lucky to work on. When you think about a system, many times you will say that, okay, one invoice has to have one payment or one receipt. And that's correct. There's nothing wrong in that. But you also have situations that this guy faces, which is one bill, 4 parts. Sometimes he'll have 3 bills and collect one bulk payment. Sometimes he'll have 2 bills for which he'll collect 6 payments. So when you start now going into a little bit of detail and trying to figure out that, okay, how does this guy really work? You start recognizing that building this structured theoretical system doesn't really support organizations like this. And what ends up happening, and mistakes that people like us do, is go and tell folks like them that, listen, you're running your business wrong. You need to change that in order to adapt to this. But if you sit for 2 seconds in his context, this is how he runs. This is his business. This is how he's run for 20 years. Asking him to change will prevent you from succeeding in a market like India.
So technology should become a tool for him rather than the other way around. Absolutely. Of changing his nature. 100%. It should not change his nature.
100%. You take simple other things, right? You take GST. GST, the moment you raise an invoice, you have a liability of that amount that you're supposed to collect. But business cycles are different. I may invoice you for, say, 10 lakhs, 20 lakhs, 30 lakhs, whatever it is. There's an 18% that I'll have to pay on that, even if you don't pay me. So people now need to figure out at what point to invoice. So there are all these nuances that need to be understood to make products that actually can work in environments like this.
Yeah, I changed my invoice dates to manage the GST for sure. Absolutely, it's a nightmare.
Yeah.
And especially if you're talking scale, and the cement dealer would be handling several businesses.
Yeah.
Right, he'd be supplying to many people.
100%.
And that's the complexity that you saw.
Absolutely.
And typically, it's not like a Western business, is it? For them to understand that we are built for how an Indian mindset works. And typically, it's very complex if you're an SME vendor.
You're right. But we've had some differences and lessons that we've learned in the last maybe 6 years. In COVID, I was in New York. I met a lot of business owners from there.
They'd have the same problem?
I think so. So what ends up happening is it's more a function of your size, more a function of where you are in your journey. The more owner-driven businesses there are, the more what they call system exceptions will probably exist. And there is a desire, of course, to make things standardized, make things run without you. And they should, but in many cases that's not possible, right? So wherever you have cases where owners are involved, you will have non-standard experiences that end up taking place. And what our system does is it helps you adapt to those types of situations.
Okay, because abroad it's mostly DIY.
That's a different problem.
Interesting, isn't it?
Yes,
I know we're still in the operating system question, but I want to cover this DIY because in India, although it's also DIY, they also go to CAs to handle this. We are going to talk about that in a bit. How does it happen in the West? Because you said there's lots of learnings because SMEs are similar globally.
Yeah, I think it's a function of cost, to be really honest. I think if you look at markets like India, our SMEs expect to be treated like enterprises.
Absolutely.
And I think that the moment you go outside of India where cost of labor is very expensive, I think that there's no option but to be treating yourself like a consumer. So you do end up doing a lot of DIY. And therefore markets have moved in that same direction. In India, if you look at it today in India, we have the largest software sales and service network. You name a city, name a town, we'll have someone who's servicing there. For software, why? But I think that many of our customers need to know and have comfort that there's somebody there to contact in case they need any help. The buying behavior and my dad says a very nice example. He's like, when I buy water for my business, I expect the delivery guy, even if it's the same one bottle, the delivery guy to come to my shop. The same person will end up buying the water, the same Bisleri bottle or whichever water you use, on the way back home for their house. So they buy themselves for their house as a consumer, but for their shop, they expect someone to come.
Yeah, to deliver it for them.
To deliver it for them. So there is this behavioral change as well, or difference rather.
Do you think that changes now? I mean, with the West, whatever's going on in the West, did you see more people saying, okay, we may want to work with an Indian CA to help us use Tally, and it brings the cost down for them as well? Is that something that you see? I'll tell you why, because that straight away goes into my operating system question. You are going to offer all these services for all the SMEs globally.
Sure.
Don't you think so?
Yeah, we definitely do want to. I think systematically over the last 40 years, we've attempted many expansions. Today, we're blessed to have served the Middle East in a really, really strong way. Africa is a big growth market for us. We're exploring other markets as well. And I think that we're learning that a similar philosophy will apply across. The mode to reach them will be different.
Yes.
And that's okay. That will be totally native and totally figure out what's there locally. But from a product philosophy perspective, we think we're in a very strong place.
And what's the operating system look like? What is it? I mean, again, the answer is people today will talk about AI. People will say, do you have cloud services, AI services? Then they'll say, is it insights? What is the operating system now?
Yeah, so I mean, what we've been known for, like you said in the beginning, is accounting. And we do that really, really well. Of course, we do that today really well as well. But we do a lot more for the business. And I think over the last maybe 6 or 7 years, we've been trying to connect businesses to their ecosystems. So a few years ago, we connected their ERP system to the GST network. We connected them to banks. We connected to Bharat Connect. So effectively now you have an ability to use your ERP system to really drive insights to run your business better. Data entry starts becoming much, much lower, which was, I would say, 5 or 7 years ago.
That's your insights layer. This is your insights layer.
The insights layer, exactly. And of course, 2-3 years back, this whole AI wave has hit. And I was talking to Dad about it, and he's like, you should have seen 4.5. So I was like, why? We had this calculator facility where you could ask it any question and it would give you an answer. I was like, you mean you had GPT back in like 1995? He's like, yeah, sort of.
That's Tally 4.5.
Tally 4.5, yeah. So one is this connectivity, is what I would say. The second is that you can't have a serious technology conversation without talking about AI. And we've been spending a lot of time trying to build the right experiences for our customers. So we're not in a rush, is what I would say. But a few things that I will share. So when I've been talking to many customers, and I met an auto parts dealer in Calcutta. So my sister.
Do you still meet customers? That's interesting.
Yeah. I was there Monday as well. So in the Calcutta customer meet, my sister and me were sitting, and whatever, we had tea and started chatting. And the first question, no name, no how are you. In Hindi he asked, "Sir, आप लोग AI के बारे में क्या कर रहे हो?" He's a 70-year-old business, 70-year-old man running the business, asking this question. So when people say India's business owners are backward, I completely disagree. I think that's certainly one thing that I've learned.
So they are looking at ways to change their business, so they are familiar with AI and...
100%. But the concerns are many. So to go into an environment like an SME is fairly unforgiving, I would say. If you go in by saying that, listen, I'll give you an AI solution, but the AI solution actually doesn't fulfill its promise, you'll be thrown out. If you say that, listen, I'm giving you an AI solution, but I may not use your data to learn, thrown out. If you go in saying that, listen, this is really expensive, thrown out. So the problem is that you need to engineer your solutions that give a promise that that same person wants to use. So for us, the tenets on which we build the experience become very, very critical.
Okay, forgive me, I'm going to humor you on this. I mean, now that I have some insight into Indian businesses and how they want cash flow. It should be, I mean, I remember when I used to be a journalist, people used to ask me, okay, you write all this, but how do you make money? I told them salary back then. But now that I'm a businessman, I understand how these cycles work. Yeah. So it's cash flow, taxes, very important. I think Indian businesses are at such a scale, because 40 years of experience should say something to you. How many of the Indian business SMEs appreciate that Tally can give them insights to actually scale? That is the purpose of AI, isn't it? This auto parts dealer, see, automobile is going to grow in India, whether you like it or not, it's growing. It's the fastest growing market. It is still growing. It's what they say, there's only 12 people who own cars in India, 2,000. And that market will continue to grow because Indians aspire to grow. Absolutely. How would Tally help such a person? I mean, yes, we help you in GST or taxes or anything, reconciliation. We also give you these insights. But what do they want to do with the insight? Because an Indian entrepreneur has an ego. So I know my business better than anybody.
They do.
Yes. But can they scale? My question is that, because this is your thought process, because you'll help them scale.
100%. I mean, the only reason that we've survived is that we've helped folks in this manner, right? Today, time gets consumed in compliance. Time gets consumed in figuring out, is Vishal a great customer of mine? Is he not? Where am I out of stock? Where am I not? Your system has to help you with all of that. I think what AI ends up doing, or has the possibility to do, is 2 or 3 big things. I think one, your ability to ingest all kinds of data into the system, that starts growing. I think the second is your ability to not necessarily look at pre-made reports, but to ask for insights. That starts coming through. In fact, in the next few weeks, we should be going live with some of our conversational experiences as well. And there are challenges in building out those experiences in the right way for Vishal.
So these are just prompts?
These are just prompts, questions, English, voice, whatever. And the third one, I think, is starting to, and we're also exploring how we can get it to do tasks for you, which is that whole agentic frame. But across all of these, no matter what kind of additional benefits you give out, the foundation still has to be really strong. It has to be trustworthy. It has to be private. It has to be cost effective. Without these basics, no matter what demo you give here, I don't think people will be as appreciative. Exactly.
So you talked about the accounting layer, the banking layer, and the payments layer.
Yeah.
These 3, yes. Then you went deep saying, okay, fundamentally we are still that system that offers trust.
Sure.
On that level, there's something called the cloud.
Sure.
It's the TallyPrime cloud.
Sure.
Is that in your own data centers? The first question.
Sure.
And then, do people appreciate that, or they still want the old way of the auto parts dealer perhaps as a license? Like the old days. Yeah. Do they appreciate a combination of the two? Do they really care about it? I know the 100 crore plus companies would care about it.
Sure.
I don't know if a 10 crore or a 50 crore company would care about it.
So the way I would respond to that is India is huge, very, very diverse, and therefore the needs at every level are very different.
Correct.
I think what we've seen is that there are folks at the 1, 2, 3 crore range that prefer to have a private virtual system on which they can access Tally anywhere. That's where the cloud access solution helps them. The second is that you find people who are in 1, 2, 3 crores who don't want any data to go anywhere. They want it on their laptop, in their hands all the time. So there are a variety, and I would say that very honestly, even the 10, 20, 50, 60, 80, 100 crore, there is a vast difference that you'll, or this diversity that you'll find. So at this point, I think, and especially at our price points, the statement of cloud being cheaper is not correct.
Yeah, I want you to touch upon that because you've been maintaining, and obviously with growth, a lot of companies tell me that the cloud is not viable sometimes.
Yeah.
So you want to talk about it?
Yeah, sure. I mean, I think the original promise was this whole CapEx to OpEx shift, right? And the unpredictability of your software required you to overinvest potentially in some amount of CapEx. So you always got your investments wrong. And therefore moving into OpEx made some amount of sense. I think that promise changed in the mid 2000s or early 2000s into anytime, anywhere access. That promise of the cloud is still a very, very solid promise. The issue I would say with that particular promise in many cases is that privacy gets lost. Yeah. So
it becomes prohibitively expensive as you scale also.
Expensive as you scale, and then you're locked in into many of these providers. So it's a difficult, and if you've seen in the last maybe 7-10 years, there's a big multi-cloud hybrid environment movement, just to de-risk. So I think that if you look at the scale at which we operate, the kind of customers that we serve, it's important for us to make sure that they have access to data anytime, anywhere, but they also have private access and they also have it affordable.
So they can still be on a desktop or a laptop, but they can look at it from the phone.
Absolutely.
If they're traveling abroad or to another state or something like that.
100%.
That works best for you.
Yep.
Here's a question that I want to ask you. I mean, I was always a fan that with so much data available, these SMEs could benefit with their working capital loans with banks. I thought banks could really, I mean, we are investing so much in manufacturing, at least the announcements are. And you'd want the banks to say, okay, let's take a bet or punt on manufacturing a lot more. I'm just saying, are banks open to data given by you?
So first, we don't have any data. Right, we are totally data blind.
That's a great answer. Yeah. But I'm saying the insights are with the entrepreneur. He can give it to the bank.
He can, and they do. Today they do. Most of their data is in Tally. They need to make sure it's in the right format that the bank accepts, and that's typically what they would do if a bank asks for financials. But I would say that there's a growing opportunity in a sense.
Because you're a market leader, it's only about that interoperability. Now with Bharat Connect, you're doing payments,
We are. You're right. What I would say is that the opportunity I see shone even brighter during COVID. Okay. I think what we recognized was that many people see the MSME as a big, having credit deficit. They lack official access to great credit. And lenders have a little understanding or little data to understand these folks. So what they end up doing is creating surrogate programs, a banking, a GST, stuff like this. But to get that documentation and share it with the banks is not easy. Once you share it, you don't get a clear answer whether you're going to get a loan or not. Yes. You wait 6 days, 8 days, 10 days. By that time, the scheme that the distributor was running is over. The scheme that the company was running is over. The market demand that you had for Diwali is gone. Yes. So you can't wait that 6, 7, 10 days, right? So I think what we have is an opportunity to build an experience for many of our customers where they can directly share several parts of their existing data directly with lenders. So we're working with a few folks to do that, and we're excited with.
Tejas, here's a question that probably will excite you as much as, it's a sort of a trick question, but you might like answering it. A lot of the tech companies pose as accounting software.
Sure.
You know what I'm saying. You're a tech accounting first and then a tech company.
Sure.
Do you see the subtle difference?
I do.
How do you manage that narrative today? How tough is it for you? Because I've told you, the techies have a seat on the table.
You're right.
So how do you handle that?
It's a tough thing, I think. So we've got Jasmeet sitting here. She's tasked me to make sure that
you talk to people like me.
I talk to people like me. Exactly. No, I think see, internally, Vishal, we've touched wood. We've got a very, very strong set of engineers. I think we have some of the world's best engineers, and we end up doing work which is so deep. We make our own DB, we do our own math, we write our own memory, we have our own language. Very few such folks end up doing that. So there is a narrative that we do need to build, which allows us to encourage such kind of folks to get built out of India. Making sure that India's software product story becomes not just an India story, but a global story. There's a big role that we need to play. So it is some work that we need to do, is how I would kind of answer that. We do have some of the world's best engineers. We build a lot of stuff which is fairly deep in the product. And I think that we do need to do a bit of a better job in talking about us. So you were talking about the accounting, tech, and that difference. I think internally we're a tech company that happens to make accounting, ERP products for SMEs. But does our customer need to think that? Not necessarily. Do people who want to work here need to think that? 100%. I think they need to think the same way that I do. And that positioning, we do need to do a bit of a better job.
You've been doing a lot of work with startups, haven't you? You've got challenges for them. You want to talk about that a bit?
Sure.
Are you acquiring things, or are you, when I say things, these ideas, or do you work with founders who are bright?
So I personally spend a lot of time with founders. I think they reach out. I'm fairly responsive. My tendency is to try and see if I can help in building more product companies out of India. There are lessons that we've learned. There's 8 out of 10 businesses in the country use us. So how do you build market-winning products is something that I'm very happy to share with folks. The second is that with DPIIT over the last few years we've been working. One of the expectations they had from us was, can you guys educate founders about how to run finances better? So we do a lot of sessions, not in Bangalore, Delhi, Mumbai. We do a lot of sessions in faraway districts that allow us to connect with entrepreneurs locally and get them the right financial savviness, is how I would put it.
Interesting. So has that been a good experience with startups for you?
Fantastic.
In terms of sheer access to the product and the code, or is it just that they've got, let's say the pulse of the market, maybe, I don't know.
So see, from a usage, most startups use Tally. So from that, we're not really trying to impact from that point of view. We're just trying to educate on, when you start off in business, you take your story, right? You were a journalist, moved into being an entrepreneur. There's a journey there's a shift. There's how you deal with money, how you understand cash flow.
Which I'd never known before.
Which you never knew. And we're trying to just help folks who have started the entrepreneurial journey take cognizance of what it takes to manage all of this.
Yeah.
So that's really the effort. The second thing is that recently we concluded a startup challenge with DPIIT. It was a challenge to help the manufacturing sector in the country find startups that are creating solutions for them, and see if we can help provide both a platform as well as interactions with our customers to help them scale up. Phenomenal experience, I would say. Interesting companies, and I think a lot of opportunity for us to be that product nation that I think we want.
Yeah, you got 2.5 million customers or more, right?
Yeah, more now.
And that itself is a great data point to say that startups would want to plug into. It's about money. In the end of the day, I think any tech company should plug into yours to get access to the manufacturing clusters.
True.
Because you touch upon this manufacturing cluster thing, I want to know, India is, I said, it's a nation of trading. We've also moved to manufacturing. We also have huge services, tech services. Where are we heading in terms of the current narrative in the world? Is it's just destroyed us. The rupee is weakened. Our exports are charged with tariffs and all that. And you said India has to stand up and build its own products. And rightly so, can do. Where are we heading in that direction?
I think I'm an optimist in general. So I think the next 10, 15, 20 years, the general headwinds are with us. I think you go and meet, I was in Patna a few months back. I think the change in the narrative that you see in a Patna 10 years ago to today is vastly different.
Aspirational?
Aspirational.
Not government jobs.
Not government jobs. It is, and more than that, I would say 10 years ago, people in Patna didn't see a future in Patna. It was a Patna to a Delhi, Bangalore, Bombay, Calcutta.
They want to stay back.
They want to stay back. They want to stay back. They don't just want to stay back. They want to build in that market. You see UP story. I was again in UP.
It's a success story.
Phenomenal. More than the development, it is the tone of the entrepreneur that speaks of optimism. That hasn't existed. So I think that if you look at, yes, there are problems. Everywhere there are problems. There's no country which doesn't have problems. So one can always say the grass is greener on this side or that side. But the ability and the aspiration, and I would say the ingenuity of most Indian entrepreneurs, I would say is almost unmatched. A month ago, I was at a friend's house in London, and we had friends from all over the world who were there. There were only Indians who were optimistic, right? So I think in the next 10, 15, 20 years, despite all the headwinds that we're facing, I think it is our time to shine. It does mean that we will need to work harder than we have before.
And how do you define that? Do you want to qualify that? What does hard work mean?
I think it's about having a little bit of faith in yourself. You must be willing to take the plunge. Let's say you have an idea, and I think this whole Startup India initiative that's come up, the fact that startup was not a great word or
10 years ago it was not.
Right? To what
It's
it is
mainstream
today,
now.
It is a big difference, and I think that if more such people just take that one step in, commit to saying, listen, I will figure this out. I think there's some incredible opportunities.
I agree. I mean, look at the brand story. I mean, 10 years ago, we had very few brands.
Yeah.
Now there's an explosion of them.
Yeah.
But sustainable or not, I don't know. But certainly large number of entrepreneurs and brands. You have world-class shoes.
Absolutely.
Being built here.
My wardrobe is filled with Indian brands. Experiments and then love. Really, honestly.
I do a lot of experiments with these new SMEs.
Yeah.
Do you think they could be your customers?
They are. Many of them are. Yeah, many of them are.
They're tech-first companies or just brands? Just guys and girls coming and saying, look, I understand fast fashion. I understand ecosystem, sustainability of material. Maybe I can curate something for a small market.
Many different stories, Vishal.
You had such stories with Tally?
Oh yeah, of course. We run a program called MSME Honors. The reason that we do
This is for younger ones?
This is for everyone who runs a business. The reason that we do it is we recognize that there are entrepreneurial stories that just don't come to the front page. And our job was to try and encourage, motivate, recognize. We found one lady, I think she's based out of Calcutta if I'm not wrong. She runs a bamboo business and she got awarded as an MSME Honors winner last year. What an incredible story. Her entire office is built out of bamboo. All the products she sells is out of bamboo. It is a true innovation-led, green-led story. Where do you hear this? There's another guy based out of, I think, Tamil Nadu. And he does lake cleaning, river cleaning.
Yeah, I think I read about that guy.
Zero power. It's all passive technology that cleans out all the crap from the lakes. Amazing, right? So I think that such stories exist. They just don't get shown.
Yeah, I just wish the scale and perhaps something that you can mentor them on. I don't know.
Yeah, I think that I think they will figure it out. I think like most entrepreneurs that figure it out, I think that they will also figure it out.
So you're an optimist about India 5 years, although everything that's happening to us globally.
Yeah, cyclical. You always get a beating, right? Like I was in college in 2007. I entered college and the crash happened.
Absolutely. What timing?
What timing, right? 2 years later, the job market was great. So I think that see, tough times will come, great times will come.
But India has to work harder.
We just have to be more convicted.
Cognizant of the fact that we have to work a little more harder compared to what's happened in the US. Yeah. And then again, coming back to AI now, a lot of the kids are scared.
Sure.
You know, I keep saying that if you learn Tally, you will not be shown the door, but you'll have a seat at the table at least.
Sure.
Right? How do you want to answer this question? Will AI really be something that maybe we need an AI ministry or something to understand its impact. I don't know, because Germany already has it. The Americans are already proposing something. So what are your thoughts?
So, from someone who uses and is building solutions for our customers from using all these technologies, creating many of these technologies, I think that my genuine answer is probably 2 or 3 things. One, as an individual, you cannot ignore the technology. You may hate it, that's fine, that's your call, but you cannot ignore it. And I think that it's similar to the internet in a way that it consumes your life today. You can use it for good, you can use it to complain, but you cannot ignore it. I think that AI is at that point.
I agree. It's like it's here. You cannot ignore it.
Now you deal. I think the second one is be deeply curious about it. I think that folks that are using AI, learning about AI, there's no expert. There are just folks that are committing more time to it, and I think that every individual should. I would say kids especially should be committing time to this, and I think the facilities are there to do that. My third experience is that I have not seen it being replacement oriented personally. It may. I can't predict that. But what I will say is that in my experience over the last few years, the trajectory that I've seen is it's an incredible tool for intelligent work. But to use that tool, one must know what they're expecting out of it. And therefore, the domain matters a lot.
So that's a shift that's going to happen, whether you like it or not.
You look at the radiologists, right? Watson came out when, 15, 20 years ago?
Yeah, we knew the story then.
The point was that, radiologists will all be out of jobs because now the system can read an X-ray better than, or an MRI better than a human can. But has that happened? The radiologist seats in India, from what I remember maybe 5 or 7 years ago, are the most expensive seats. So I think that there is, of course, a transition that we're going through. But my view is that you do need to be a little bit more domain ready, put yourself in understanding the subject, and then use the tool that AI provides, as opposed to outsourcing the thinking to the tool.
No, I have so many questions, but this podcast is too short for me, and I'm going to come back for many more. But quickly, I know you're going to do Tally 7.1.
Sure.
A lot of the features are coming out there. I want you to talk about that. I want you to talk about trust and security, which, I don't know whether Indians really appreciated it.
They do.
Quickly, I want you to talk about the Tally education side, the partnerships, because every other place, I remember, talking to SMEs in 2010, 11, 12, and most of them say, I want to do Tally training or something. And there's so many of these institutions that offer. Does that still continue? Is it online now? How does that work? And also in the old days, it was pirated software. Now, then they would come and you'd wish that they'd go buy the real one later on as they grew.
Sure.
So 3 things: Tally 7.1, the education partnerships, and
Super. So 7.1 is coming out. I think in the last 3 or 4 years, we bring out a release every few months. We launched 7.0 in December, 7.1 now. And the theme is on 2 areas. We'll be continuing to connect the business to their ecosystem. The second big one is, of course, scaling up our AI initiatives. So we'll see a lot of stuff happening. One of them is ingesting documents inside Tally the way you want to, with the human in check. So it's called Docs by Era. Era is our AI brand. And we're really looking forward. I think we've got an MCP plan, we've got our a conversational AI plan. So there's a lot of stuff that's coming out in the next few months for many of our customers on the AI bit.
And you want to make sure that it's secure. You want to make sure that the insights that it provides are real.
Of course.
And you know how the businessmen in India, can they be ruthless if something goes wrong?
Unforgiving. That's how I would put it. We have to live up to that promise. If we don't, you'll know soon enough. That's just how the market is. I'll come to your second bit on training and skilling. And we were talking about this before we shot, right? So there is if you still open Times of India today or Economic Times and you look at the job section, wherever you see an accountant being asked for, Tally is the
that's so true.
And we feel that
That's the brand equity being around for a while.
and we think it's real. We just crossed, I think, 1 million registered learners on the certification side. That's a small dip in the ocean, if you ask me. But it's something that we're really excited to keep scaling up. So we partner with NGOs, we partner with governments, we partner with local training institutes to get them the best content. And the challenge now is that 10 years ago, your 5-year-old content would work. Today, that doesn't work. So every few months, the content changes, and therefore the learner expectations are much higher.
But accounting is the same. How much would it change?
Accounting is the same. Accounting is not the problem.
Tax and compliance?
It's not even tax and compliance. The fundamentals are the same. You learn on the job. Yes. It's the tooling that's changing so quickly. So now if you look at it, what does an AI-ready accountant really mean, right? So and that definition, very honestly, Vishal, will change 6 months from now or 12 months from now. So the importance is not to be behind and to keep that curiosity, learnability fairly high. So we have to cater to that. That's, I think, the second bit on skilling.
The CAs will play a major role in that now, I'm sure.
CAs will play a major role. They do play a major role. Many local institutes, you go down the road at the Bomanali Signal, 2 training institutes on each side, both train Tally. So that's on the second bit. On the third bit, you spoke about piracy. So one thing that I remember so clearly, my dad said, when I just joined, that great products get pirated, not the other way around. Right. It's not that pirated products become successful. So we've had a challenge of piracy, I would say, for about 30 years. After GST, that challenge has changed significantly. I think that GST has changed businesses in 2 ways. Number one, people think about compliance much earlier on in their journey. And number 2 is that once you think about compliance, you never want to sit on Excel with compliance. So you want a proper system to kind of help. So in that regard, we saw major shifts in 17, 18, 19, movement from using pirated products to using licensed products. And we're seeing a much, much more ramped up rate on new release adoption. So if we launch, let's say 7.1 in a few days, you will see that very soon it'll become one of the largest.
Which is a good thing. So India is going in the right direction in terms of compliance regulation, forcing companies to be regulatorily compliant. That's something that's helped you.
And people want to be. That's my argument to that, is that your reputation with me depends on how compliant I am, or vice versa. It's a big deal. 18% of my money could be blocked if either of us are not.
Absolutely. I can completely go into that. That's a different conversation. I faced this, so I know it. So coming to you personally, I know you're heavily into fitness, and how do you unwind these days? I mean, do you still read a lot? I know you read quite a bit. So what have you been reading?
I have been reading all sorts of books right now. So one book is on yoga. It's a textbook. I don't know why. I'm reading that. There's a book about a football coach, his story in the US. I'm reading that.
Hugh Campbell's book, is it? Or Bill Campbell, whatever. Hugh Campbell's the actor, I think. Bill Campbell, I think.
No, there's another guy. I'll give you the name. And there's a third book that I'm reading. So we're going through some big changes. One gentleman in our finance team handed it to me. So I've just started reading that. So right now, these 3.
And obviously, do you exercise or fitness? I mean, mental health has become suddenly very important in India. I didn't know. I mean, we always got whacked on the head. Our mental wellness was that. You got whacked on the head to go do the job. What's it all about now, mental wellness and all that's going on?
I mean, I think as you age, you also see more and more that you are mortal. And I think that, at least for me, the story or the motivation is that I don't want to be dependent when I'm aged. So for me, it's a habit of making sure that I keep healthy. So my general food habits are reasonably healthy. I do tend to work out 5-6 times a week. It's now just habits that you start building for yourself, and I hope that they last as I'm older.
Do you know, there's a lovely data point that says that Indians have stopped drinking more, and they're now more into health and lifestyle. That's interesting.
I could see that. Yeah, it is. It really is.
And that goes into your thought process of becoming a product nation. So yeah, you go from being depressed to really building something of value. And I hope that happens.
I hope so too.
But it takes a long time, like 40 years for you.
Yeah.
So how do you look at that? I mean, what's your message to the younger ones watching this podcast?
I think if I look at the folks that are building software, for me, I mean, in my 15 years here, it's easier to build today than it ever was, even a year ago.
Yes.
I think ease and the push to get a product out quickly doesn't necessarily give you the skill sets or the tool sets to build products that are deeply differentiated. I think internally the biggest struggle we have is, Tejas, why can't we just release it and try it?
Yeah, fail fast kind of thing.
Fail fast kind of a thing. So I think that in that ease, we've lost our ability to create something that we have now started taking for granted. I was talking to a kid who's just about to enter college. He's like, I'm into robotics, and I'm planning to do electronics, a degree in electronics. So I was like, that's so amazing. Robotics, I couldn't imagine when I was in college even. And he's like, yeah, I made a goalkeeper the other day. Like, wait, what? How did you figure out where the ball was coming? And isn't the light a big matter? And he's like,
learning is easier today.
So he's like, no, I just downloaded a library, and the goalkeeper works. My question was, why are you not wanting to make the library better? So I think
the judgment, the constraint is not in building, but the constraint is in having an insight into doing something.
100%, and just being willing to do that. And therefore, I would say that folks that are building products, it does take money. I'm not saying that it does not, but I think it takes a lot more grit and determination, and I would say love of creation. You're doing it for the sake of doing it sometimes. That's what I think brings out brilliant products.
And that's the message you want.
And that's the message that I would leave.
And on that note, I'm going to come back again and do more. There's tons of stuff that I want to ask you.
Yeah, we should just get a coffee.
Yeah, get a coffee. That's better. And obviously talk about new markets, maybe Europe, and maybe that's a separate podcast. Then you're going there, are you?
Slowly.
That's the answer. And please watch the whole podcast slowly, because I love long form. Super. And obviously it's going to be on Instagram Reels as well. But if you come so far, please like and subscribe. Okay, that's all that matters to the algorithm. But for me, this insights that Tejas provided was something that I really loved. I hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for following the UpStreamLife.com. On that note, bye. Thanks, Tejas.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.